Hi guys and welcome back to the Pottery Studio, or if you're new here, welcome. I'm Calder from Andel and today I'm going to take a look at this new throwing wheel from Vevor. As you can see, it's in a very cute pink color and I can't wait to try it out and talk to you about it. And that's exactly what I'm going to do in this video. I'll first take a closer look and see what I like about it and maybe also what I don't like about it, and I will just give you my honest opinion. And after that I'm going to grab some clay and try it out, and I'm going to throw something on it, see if I like it, see if I would recommend it and in which case I would recommend it. Oh, and in case you don't know, I have actually already made 3 videos reviewing different wheels from Vevor, so definitely make sure to check those out if you'd like. I'll link all 3 of them in the description. But now let's take a look at this wheel. First thing that I noticed is that the pink is a very cute color. I love the color and yeah, they did well on that. Also, the painting job on this one is actually done really well. I unfortunately had one wheel in the past, which I also reviewed, where the painting job wasn't as good as I hoped. There were some drips of paint and it just looked a little bit messy. But this one actually looks really good and yeah, I'm quite happy with that. As you can see, it's a really cute color, but if you don't like pink, they also have them in other colors. So definitely check it out on their website if you like. Also, if you are going to order this wheel or another wheel, please make sure to use the link in the description so that Vevor knows that you came from my video. And then I will also get a small commission, so that really helps me out to keep being able to make videos like this. And there's also a discount code in the description, so definitely make sure to use that so you also get something out of it. So painting job looks great, love the color, very cute. Also, it is very small. I can just lift it easily like this. It doesn't weigh much, it's very compact, which can be very handy if you just do this as a little hobby and you just want to put it away in a closet, and then when you have a day off or something and you want to just make some pottery, you can just easily grab it and put it away. So that's ideal because some pottery wheels are very big and very heavy and this one is very small. The wheel head also looks great, it's nice and shiny as they always are with the Vevor wheels, and yeah, I love how it looks very neat and very clean. And then let's take a look at the splash pan. So the splash pan itself looks really good actually, and it feels very strong. It's an easy system that you can just click in and take apart into different parts, so you can just easily clean it and yeah, get all of the clay out. So that is great. But one thing that I don't really like about it is that it's actually quite loose. You can just move it like this, and that's not ideal, I would personally say, because when I'm throwing I always like to kind of lean with my arms on top of the rim and then also use that to hold my arms still and my hands still so that I can actually center the clay. Centering the clay means that you press the clay towards the middle of the wheel, which is very important, and I often just like to press down on the splash pan. But now if I press down on it, it kind of, yeah, starts moving. Now there is an easy way to fix that, and that's just by putting some double-sided tape underneath it or something, or just stick it on there in any way that you'd like. But in that case you wouldn't really be able to take it off again. So then you can also just clean it while it's on the wheel, that's also possible. Just one thing to think about, but it's not a big problem, but something that I don't like that much. And on the other side there's this touch panel where you can just turn it on. And here you can just, yeah, turn it on. You can make it spin in both directions, so clockwise and counterclockwise. I always throw counterclockwise and I'm right-handed. But if you're left-handed and want to throw the other way around, that's also possible, so that is nice. And here you can also switch between the hand tune and the foot adjustment, because there's also a foot pedal that comes with the wheel. So you can just put your foot in it and then just press this down and then the wheel starts spinning. But you can also just hit the buttons up and down here to make it spin faster and slower. So it's nice that both of those are an option. I personally always like to use the foot pedal, but one great thing about this wheel being so small is that you can actually also place it on top of a table and then stand next to it. And I actually looked at the cord or the wire that's on this little foot pedal, and that's actually really long. So you could also still be standing next to it while it's on the table and then use the foot pedal. But maybe while it's standing on the table, you just like to press the buttons here and make it spin faster and slower that way. And they actually have 2 variations of this wheel. One that's a little bit stronger and a little bit bigger, that's this one. And also one that's a little bit smaller and a little bit less strong. This one is 450 watts and they also have one that is 350 watts. So just a little bit less strong when it's spinning. And this one is 11 inches wide, and they also have one that's 10 inches wide. That's not that big of a difference. 25 and 28 centimeters. And they have them in white, blue and pink. I think pink looks really cute, but blue is also fun. I would personally always go for the one that is stronger, because the stronger it is, the better it is, and the more pressure you can put on it and the bigger things you can throw on it. Now when you're just getting started, you probably don't throw really big things, but maybe if you just get better and you want to throw bigger balls or bigger vases, it can be nice to just have a bit of a stronger wheel. And yeah, compared to a very expensive wheel, this wheel just won't be as strong as an expensive wheel. So then if you buy one of them, I would just always go for the strongest option there is. And this wheel only costs 150 euros, which is actually really cheap for a pottery wheel. Normal wheels are like 10 times as expensive, and yeah, that's just how it is. Because of that, it will probably also be a little bit less strong, but we're now going to find out because I'm going to turn it. I'm just going to hit the button here to let it spin, and then we're going to hear what it's going to sound like. Okay, it actually does make quite some noise, as you can hear. The harder that you spin it, the harder it sounds. It's actually a little bit more noise than I've had with the previous wheels, I think. But one thing that I immediately noticed that I do like about this wheel, and that's actually something that I didn't like about the previous few wheels, is that the other wheels had a little bit of a bumping noise. So with each spin it was like boing, 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 if that makes sense. Just watch those videos and you'll hear it. And with one wheel I did feel it a little bit in my hands, and with the other wheel I didn't feel it in my hands. But it's just nice that this one looks very centered and you don't have that bumping noise, so that is great. Yeah, it does make some noise, but all wheels make some noise, and yeah, the harder that you spin it, the more noise that it makes. But it does look really nice and flat. I'm now going to put some pressure on it, and then we can hear if it slows down, and I can also feel if it slows down. Oh, yeah, this is why I don't like that the splash pan isn't stuck, because if it's not right in the middle, it's just touching the metal parts. Okay. So something that you definitely could hear is that the wheel slows down a little bit when I put some pressure on it, and that's not great, but that's actually with all of the Vevor wheels. With a professional and new and expensive pottery wheel, you don't have that, but with these cheaper wheels, that's just the case. But yeah, it's not necessarily a big problem. Often when you start working like with 3, 4, 5 or maybe even 10 kilograms of clay, then you just need the wheel to be very strong, because there's a lot of weight on here, and yeah, a wheel like this just won't be able to handle that. But when you're just getting started, you probably start off with 200 grams of clay or maybe 500, and then with 2 kilograms you can also make quite a big ball and quite a high face. So you also don't necessarily need a wheel that's so strong, and I don't think it's really that big of a problem that it slows down a little bit when you put more pressure on it. But it's just a little difference between a more expensive wheel and a cheaper wheel. But yeah, since it's just 10% off the price of an expensive wheel, that is maybe to be expected and also not that big of a deal. So that's enough talking about the wheel. Now I will grab some clay and we're going to try to throw on it and see how that goes. I grabbed the clay and I'm going to use 1.4 kilograms, which is quite a big amount when you're just getting started. So you probably won't be able to throw this when you're just getting started. But it's something that you can work towards, and then with a bit of a bigger piece of clay, I thought let's see how this wheel will work and if it's strong enough. So I'm now going to try that out. I'll take a little bit of water to attach the clay. Yeah, sounds alright actually when I hit it, but the splash pan is kind of moving, and that's making most of the noise. So I would definitely just make sure to stick that on the wheel with double-sided tape or something. I'm going to use the foot pedal to spin it, and here we go. To center, you often need to put quite some pressure on the clay, and the more clay that you're using, the more pressure you will need to apply, and with a smaller piece it will probably go easier. But with this piece that's a little bit bigger, I do notice that I will have to let the wheel spin as fast as it can, because it actually slows down quite a bit when pressing down, and otherwise it's just not spinning fast enough. But as you can see, I can center a piece of clay like this and it's going quite alright. One thing that I do notice, which I often do, is kind of press the clay forward while centering, and with this bigger lump of clay I kind of pick the entire wheel up and kind of press the wheel onto 2 legs instead of 3, and then the entire wheel just tilted a little bit because I put so much pressure towards the side, because the wheel is just so small and quite light. And then I'm going to just open up the clay, and then I will start putting up the walls. As you can see, when I pull the clay towards the side and I'm using quite a big piece of clay, then I'm just lifting the entire wheel up. That is not ideal. I'm now going to pull up the walls, which means that you press the clay towards your hand on the inside and then pull up the walls so that the walls get higher and the clay gets thinner. So I softly press my hand into the clay, move towards my hand on the inside, and then slowly make an upwards movement. And as you can see, the wall will become higher. In case you're thinking of learning how to make ceramics yourself and you want to learn at home and at your own pace and in your own time, then I would definitely recommend to take a look at calderscommunity.com, which is a website that I started at the beginning of this year, and it's filled with workshops and courses, and there's a full course on how to throw, where I take you on all of these steps, like centering the clay and pulling up the walls like I'm doing here. And that way you can just learn everything that you need to know about pottery. And in case you have questions or you just don't understand something, there's a community page where you can just ask me anything about pottery, and then I will just explain it to you or even make a video about it to show it to you. So definitely make sure to check out calderscommunity.com in case you're thinking of learning how to make pottery yourself. And then I have a bowl, and I always like to go over it one more time to just clean off the water and clean off the slips so that it is all nice and smooth. And then this bowl is finished, and I actually think it looks pretty good if I say so myself. Now let's talk a little bit more about how the throwing went, because I have some ups and some downs about the wheel, unfortunately. Overall, the strength of the wheel, it slows a little bit down when you put more pressure on it, but if you just put it at full speed, you will be able to center a piece like this, and you will be able to throw something that's quite big. And this ball is actually really big for a beginner, I would say. When you're just starting out, it will probably take like a year or something to throw something like this. Of course, you can try and just have fun with it. And then one thing that's actually the main problem for me while throwing on this wheel, that I shown you while throwing and I didn't think about before I tried it out, is that I was actually kind of like lifting up the entire wheel by pulling the clay open and also by centering it. So you could of course maybe, I don't know, attach your wheel onto a piece of wood or onto a table, just whatever you're working on, and then like screw it on so that it doesn't move and you won't be able to lift it. There could be a solution for that, but then you can't really easily put it away and grab it whenever you feel like. Now, final conclusion, in which case and to whom will I recommend this wheel? I would definitely recommend it to beginners. For that, I think it's great. It's only $150, so that's really cheap. And if you're not sure if you like throwing, but you also not really like to go to a class, then you can just buy this wheel and try it out yourself and just have fun with it. Of course, when starting with pottery, you also will need a kiln and tools and glazes, and pottery is just overall a very expensive hobby. But you can maybe also fire your pieces at a community studio or something, or get a kiln and maybe a second-hand kiln, or whatever you like. But I think it is an okay wheel to start off with if you just want to do it as a hobby, which is kind of the same thing that I've said about other wheels from Vevor. It's great to start out with, it's great to play with children maybe, for example, and if you just want a fun little hobby and use the wheel for that, it's just fine. You can make things on it, as you can see, and I would recommend it. It's not bad, and it actually looks really cute because it's pink, so it's handy if you want to use it as a hobby. But in case you may be thinking about becoming a professional potter or a full-time potter, or maybe start making things and just sell them as a side thing, I mean it would be possible, but just if you're a little bit more serious about ceramics, then I would personally buy a more expensive wheel. But if you just want to try it out, have some fun with clay, then this wheel is great for that, and I would definitely recommend it. Now, if you're going to start out with pottery because of this video, I wish you a lot of fun and I hope you enjoy your pottery journey. And definitely make sure to subscribe because I have a lot of pottery content. I have a lot of instruction videos on how to throw things, and also slab building and hand building, by the way, if you're not a really big fan of wheels, but otherwise I know why you're watching this video. And like I said, definitely make sure to check out calderscommunity.com to get even more workshops and information about making pottery. Thank you Vevor for sending me this wheel, and again, if you're going to buy it, please use the link in the description so that I know that I sent you, and I hope to see you in another video, and I hope to see you around in the studio. Bye bye!